Hello everyone and welcome. This is Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, playing it on the Wii U. Now, I mentioned a while back that I was going to be working on getting the Monster Hunter walkthroughs back up and running, and I'm not sort of neglecting that, but there's been one slight problem getting with Monster Hunter Freedom and Monster Hunter Freedom Freedom Unite uploaded and recorded. And that would be because the USB port on my PSP is going out of whack. So I need to get either that part replaced or a whole new PSP entirely. And since mine is aged a little bit worse than I thought it would, well, I think I'm just going to need to get a new PSP. But in the meantime, I figured that I'd get some Monster Hunter at least uploaded again. And what better way to, oh my god, the ass shot right there. Oh, Jesus Christ, I wish I didn't see that. Wish I never even, I wish I hadn't forgotten about it. That way I could avert my eyes. But anyways, I insisted on getting some Monster Hunter to you guys at some point. And what better way than to start with Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. And, well, initially, this was a Wii game called Monster Hunter 3 Try, and it used the same, the traditional Wii assets of either the classic controller or the whole Wii remote. Now, I was able to use pretty much both those quite well, but when the game started coming to a close for me personally, I was using the Wii Remote, which, actually worked fairly well, though some people frown upon that. But ever since the, Monster Hunter Portable 3rd came out, it pretty much put Monster Hunter 3 Try to shame, and we hadn't had a Monster Hunter game for a while since, and then I guess, this game was released. And so, as we start here, we are in Moga Village. Moga Village has been experiencing some earthquakes lately, and, well, they suspect it to be a Lagiacrus, this massive water dragon thing. It's a Leviathan-type wyvern, really bad-tempered, and very powerful. And because of the quake, some things got messed up, and so we gotta sort some things out. And if you are just getting into Monster Hunter, you really don't know what Monster Hunter is about, and I'll tell you right now, there's really no point. I'll say it right now. Story-wise, the Monster Hunter series has been incredibly weak, but that doesn't really hinder it all that much. Your main point is to kill monsters, complete quests, and use the rewards that you get to make better armor and weapons. And when you start out, usually you start out with no armor at all. What we have is like the, I guess the hunter armor? Let's see, I'm going to try to, okay, that's the button. It's been a while since I've played this game, so bear with me here. But yeah, this is the armor that we start off with. Usually we don't start off with any armor. And so that's one of the things that this game provides that I'm very much grateful for. That and, let's see, what was it? Many other Monster Hunter games, they provided you with weapons, usually the weakest type of each weapon class, because you have two classes. You got your Blade Master and you got your Gunner. Blade Masters are the types to go in fighting, and they have high defense, weak elemental resistance. Gunners are weak in defense but have great elemental resistances. And, well, you can, as soon as the Chamber of Line stops speaking, I can show you that. So if we go over to our equipment here, you can see again, you have your fire -1, dragon 1, everything else is 0. So -1 is bad, positive numbers are good. And so I sort of went by really quickly with the characters out there. You got you got your three main sources. You got the person that handles your quest, which is this lady right here. You have the chief who gives you the information, and then you have this guy who crafts armor and weapons. I believe this one might be the armor lady, or not the armor lady, but the well, actually I think it is the armor. Nope. Okay, so this is the whore, I think. So there is a person in this village that is a groupie. She doesn't deny that, and I'm not checking the text here, so it could be anyone. But I think that's the whore of the village, and well, she likes to flirt with said hunter. But so what was I remember I'm going off on like a major tangent here, but well, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, comparing this game to Monster Hunter Tri, there are a lot of improvements, starting with the variety of weapons that you can use when you first start the game. And in Monster Hunter Tri, you only had 2 weapons. You had your hunter's knife, and you had a great sword. That was it. In this game, you have access to all the base weapons. And personally, I use the Longsword. The Longsword's a very popular weapon. It is an easy-to-learn, hard-to-master sort of weapon. And Jesus Christ, Village Chief, stop. Just stop. And what makes this weapon so great is that it has great combo, and it has a great attack power for its type. And I can show you right now. These are Aptonoth. They are herbivores. They rarely ever attack you. They typically run away, and the only reason why they would attack you is if you attack them and they're trying to defend themselves. Usually the larger guys right here, they try to defend, but this is the sort of thing that we can do with a longsword. Longsword is one of those weapons that is very easy to chain with, so it pretty much has unlimited combo potential, which that sounds awesome. But at the same time, it has no way, you have no means of defending yourself. That's the first negative. The other thing too is that even though it works great in single player and multiplayer, you have to be careful because you can trip your other hunters, so your teammates, if you use reckless attacks, and that's widely frowned upon. So shame that the spirit gauge, if you look under where that green bar is, that's a health bar. Right underneath that is your stamina bar. Underneath that's your weapon sharpness. And below that is what looks to be an empty gauge. When you hit enemies with it, that gauge fills up. And if it's full and maxed out, you can perform a spirit combo. So it's a great way for getting rid of enemies, but at the same time, that's one of the things that massively pisses off people in multiplayer, is when they are not careful with their attacks and they wind up tripping their teammates. Unless they have super armor where they don't flinch when they're while they're attacking. So the reason why we attacked those poor guys is well, not to kick the air, but we needed this raw meat. This, when cooked, recovers your stamina, and in fact, it even increases your max stamina at one point. But we have to give it to this guy. This is the chief's son. So, we are going to need to repair this place because the earthquake has pretty much devastated it. And I think we have to talk to him twice. Yeah, we do. Another thing about this game is, well, we're going to get into it later, but this Monster Hunter Tri was the first game in the series to introduce underwater combat. And I'll say it right now, I like the underwater combat. I think it's really cool. Bit of a problem with depth perception, though. I won't lie. Fighting underwater, for some people, or probably even the majority, I'm not entirely sure, but they don't seem to like it. Personally, I enjoy it. The only thing that really messes me up is, again, the whole depth perception, but we'll get into that later. Right now is basically tutorial for, I guess, for the first hour, maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe? But, so in order to go about fixing up the camp, we need resource points, and we get that by doing the free hunt, which I believe this was Monster Hunter Try Again was the first game in the series to introduce free hunting, where you could go off into the woods without being bound to a quest. So yeah, we need all this, and well, that's not good. Well, what am I saying? It's depending on the monsters you take down equals to the amount of points that you get. We need 30. I did see something about 5,000 or something. But pay attention to the points you need rather than the other numbers, because well, this is a video game. We're not here to do math, or at least I hope not. And this is the fisher lady, and once we get boats back and going, we can go off and catch fish. And fish have a variety of uses in this game, and it's one of those things that we're going to get to later on. Personally, I'm probably not going to use any of the fish outside of maybe, I don't know, money. Because unless it's multiplayer, you really don't have a need for fish. Unless you're the speedrunning type, and then, yeah, fish are your best friends. There's one particular one, I believe it's a scatterfish, that's used to make a type of bomb. And if you have a good supply of those, you're pretty much set. And so we're back here in the Moga Woods, and as you can see over on the right-hand side, we have our map. And if you're paying attention before, our map has expanded. And that's a good thing, because now we can explore most of the place. And this is one of the tropes of the game that I don't really like. And it's where the game likes to section off certain areas instead of just letting you explore everything. And, okay, interrupt me again, you asshole. And this is the most apparent with the egg hunting quest, which I will say right now, I do not plan to do, because fuck the egg quests, honestly. I mean, I like doing full-on walkthroughs and everything, but seriously, fuck egg quests. They are just awful. And, well, I might go off and do that when I have more materials. Going off to get eggs and those sort of carrying quests require a bit of a setup, and it's better if you have the resources and materials in order to make it more comfortable. So I might go back off and do that. I don't know. I hate egg quests. They blow massive dongs. But what we got here is we got Jaggies. Jaggies are the first enemies that we meet that actively attack you on sight. And then the ones that we're going after before were Kelbies. Kelbies, we can't, I don't think we can legitimately kill. Because there's a particular item in the game called the Kelby Horn, which needs to be obtained with the Kelby alive. And that's a lot harder than it sounds. So you have to stun them. And, well, this is where your weapon of choice really starts to come in. Because, let's compare the Longsword to the Greatsword. They're both around the same size, I shit you not, in terms of length. Not so much in width, because the Greatsword is just massive. It's powerful, it's slow, but it can also block, which for some reason also degrades sharpness. I don't know why. Longswords are fast. They have, I'd say, medium power. And what else? Well, they can't block. Again. And so how you want to handle an enemy is all depending on what you're looking for in a weapon. You want the short range with status afflicting elements, then you might want to go with the sword and shield. If you want to have the power and speed with a good balance, well, maybe the longsword's your best bet. Or hell, maybe you just want to go flat out power, just ignore all speed and all sense of logic. In that case, you might want to consult my buddy Zach Murray and go with the hammer. Because the hammer, well, one, it can really wreck shit up. But two, it can also stun enemies too. and that could be really helpful on certain large monsters. Now, in terms of the resource points, as you can see there, with every kill we get some resource points, which when we go back, we are going to fill out a hunter's report, and that's how we get our points. Oh, hey, another Jaggy over here. At this point in time, the Jaggies are worth the most in terms of resource points. So, yeah, so go after Jaggies is pretty much what I'm saying. And most of the time, enemies respawn. But in certain other instances, in one case, the egg carrying quests, which is probably the only act of mercy that those quests have, is that after you clear out an area of enemies, after you get the egg, I should point out, if you clear out that area and then clear out all the other monsters that respawn, then that area is pretty much done. And so it's sort of a sigh of relief. But for the most part, enemies typically respawn. And I'm probably another thing I should probably point out is at the beginning of this game, you want to be hoarding like a motherfucker. Like you want to have so much stuff on you that you're going to be on an episode of Hoarders. That's pretty much how it's going to be, because this game is very much a luck-based game in terms of what you get. Everything has a percentage to it. So like if you search a particular patch, say like a grass patch, maybe 80% of the time you're going to get an herb, but you want something else, like a paintball or a paintberry. So it's very much luck-based, but it doesn't really start to become a major issue until the large monsters, where you need a item from them that is literally, and I shit you not, a 1 out of 100 chance of obtaining through a certain way.